Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with today's episode of News Dump, we do have to give a huge shout out to this week's sponsoring advertiser, the Dollar Shave Club. When you head down to your local box retailer, you're presented with far too many choices when it comes to grooming products, and a lot of them are expensive. Hell, sometimes you even forget to grab what you need because you're in such a hurry.
Well, now is the time to try out Dollar Shave Club, and they are more than just razors. Yes, of course, they make and deliver amazing razors, but they also have a wide selection of high-quality grooming products as well. So you no longer have to set foot in a store to get this stuff in your hands and into your bathroom.
Right now, the Dollar Shave Club has a deal for new members called Shit, Shower, Shave. I'm not joking. It's a starter set, and they're doing it for only $5. The starter set includes their executive razor and 3 trial-sized versions of their most popular products to help you stay fresh and clean.
In your first box, which we have here, and I'm holding the stuff in it, you'll receive shave butter, body wash, and these things right here. One Wipe Charlie's butt wipes. You're also getting that executive razor, which includes their premium weighty handle and a full cassette of cartridges. After the first box, replacement cartridges are sent to you for only a few bucks a month. You can check their website for more pricing details.
This offer is exclusively available at the link in the description box below or by going to dollarshaveclub.com/etc show. So join the club.
But now let's get to some movie news. Put this down here, and yeah, man, the DC movieverse simply cannot catch a damn break. Aside from Wonder Woman, yeah, there you go. Just 10 months ago, we learned that Joss Whedon was crossing the aisle from Marvel to DC to write and direct a Batgirl movie. And that was some very exciting news since Whedon had already proven his comic book movie chops on 2 Avengers movies and had already an amazing track record with female protagonists on projects like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Well, in yet another L for the DC movie franchise, Whedon has now officially backed out of that project and it's looking like his one and only contribution to the DC movies might end up being his futile attempt at fixing Justice League. Sad.
Whedon's reason for leaving the project? Well, he just couldn't come up with a story, much less a script. We have no script. He told The Hollywood Reporter, Batgirl is such an exciting project and Warner's DC such a collaborative and supportive partners that it took me months to realize I really didn't have a story. I'm grateful to DC President Jeff Johns and Warner Brothers Picture Group President Toby Emmerich and everyone who was so welcoming when I arrived. And so understanding when I, is there a sexier word for failed?
I don't know, I can't think of one right now. I'm sure there is. There's almost certainly more to this story than simply I couldn't come up with a story, but we probably won't know that for a long time, if ever. We won't know what prevented one of the most successful superhero filmmakers on Earth from being able to make a Batgirl movie.
Yeah, seems a bit odd. Probably more to it than this.
It's not like he simply had no story. In Variety's coverage of his departure, they said that the movie was planned to be an origin story about a young Barbara Gordon based on the $1 million debut of Batgirl from the 1967 issue 359 of Detective Comics. It's not like there was no shortage of other Batgirl origin stories or ways that she could work in with any kind of...
Bring back Alicia Silverstone.
But yeah, it would have, of course, required a ton of changes to bring it out of the 1960s, which was filled with DC campiness, and into the 20-teens DC moodiness. But apparently, Whedon was not up to the task and simply threw in the towel to go work on other stuff.
I don't need this.
No.
I can go do my own thing elsewhere. And you can't. Speaking of directors backing out of projects, Christopher Nolan has preemptively taken himself out of the running for the next James Bond film, despite lots of rumors putting him at the top of the list for potential directors to take over the franchise. In a BBC radio interview last weekend, Nolan said when asked about it, I won't be the man. No, categorically. I'd love to make a Bond film at some point, and I think those producers, Barbara and Michael, they do a tremendous job, and Sam Mendes has done a terrific job the last couple films, so they don't particularly need me, but I've always been inspired by the films and would love to do one someday.
Someday.
But like, what about now?
No, actually, no, I don't want to do one right now. But, someday.
No, call me. Add me on Facebook.
When I'm old and I need a project that allows me to just have a light touch on directorial skills, then, we'll talk.
Yeah.
This actually makes a lot of sense. Chris Nolan is an auteur who succeeds largely because he gets to make movies that are his own creative vision, and taking on a franchise would mean a whole lot more cooks in the kitchen. Last year, Nolan said, I love the character, I love the films, I've been very inspired by the films, as anyone who's seen my films will find embarrassingly obvious. But you'd only take on a franchise like that if you could bring something completely new to it, if that were needed. And I think at the moment they're doing fantastically well without me, which is really a polite, if not sexy way of saying, nah, I'm not interested unless I get way more creative control than you're probably willing to give me.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. He did great work with Batman. Really reinvented that character, but that was a Chris Nolan project.
Yeah.
Didn't really let anyone else really touch that. If he could do the same thing with Bond, probably have great results. But Bond franchise is owned by one family. They have
A very specific way of doing things.
Yeah, they have a lot of control over it. I'm sure he could pitch it, but it's like he doesn't need this shit.
Yep.
Man's nominated for a bunch of Oscars.
This episode of News Dump also brought to you by directors that don't need it. Don't give a shit.
I
They
don't
don't need
fucking
it.
need this shit.
I don't need it.
Meanwhile, though, the search for a new Bond director after Sam Mendes continues, and other names reportedly still in the running include Blade Runner 2049's Denis Villeneuve, another guy who doesn't need this, and The Bourne Identity's Doug Liman. He might need it.
Yeah.
But
We need Gore Verbinski on the list, too.
It's actually, though, it's looking increasingly likely that the next Bond director could be Danny Boyle, director of movies like Trainspotting, Steve Jobs, and 28 Days Later, and Slumdog Millionaire.
He's going to turn
A lot of great movies.
Bond into Crank.
Danny Boyle for the job. It actually makes a lot of sense because Danny Boyle's never been one to really confine himself to one genre or even one style, so taking on Bond would be much more natural for him than for someone like Chris Nolan.
And arguably would make the movies a lot more fun for this generation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
According to Deadline, Boyle has actually had a story idea for a Bond movie for a long time and already has his Trainspotting screenwriter John Hodge working on a script. So sounds like the odds of Danny Boyle getting the job seem pretty high at this point.
Yeah.
You don't pay a guy to start writing your script unless you have a pretty good feeling you're going to be making the movie.
Moving on, you're going to need a pretty high IQ to understand this next story, so normies get out. McDonald's is re-releasing that damn Szechuan sauce that got repopularized on Rick and Morty, and this time it won't involve severe shortages that trigger cringy meltdowns across the country, hopefully. You could recall that back in October, McDonald's acquiesced to the demands of Rick and Morty fans and released a rehash of their sauce for a single day, but only sent a handful of sauce packets to a limited number of locations, severely underestimating the toxic cringiness of this fan base and making Rick and Morty look very, very dumb as a whole. Well, now they're trying to make things right by releasing 20 million packets of this sauce out into the wild, coming up on Monday. So...
yeah, they've also released a 3-episode podcast called The Sauce in collaboration with Gizmodo and The Onion, which is an overly straight-faced investigative documentary series exploring the history of McDonald's Szechuan sauce from Mulan to Rick and Morty to the chaos surrounding McDonald's insufficient sauce released back in October. They actually get pretty far behind the scenes at McDonald's, covering their own internal reaction to the whole meme and how they tried to figure out how best to exploit it. I listened to a few minutes of it. It was interesting, but yeah, if you're looking to get your hands on a meme sauce from McDonald's based on an episode of a cartoon that aired almost a year ago, you're gonna have to wait till Monday.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you can get your taste buds ready with a 3-episode podcast about the sauce.
just waiting for that Szechuan flavored G Fuel to come out. Glug, 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 glug.
Big if true.
Let's move on to trailers, starting with HBO's Barry, a new show starring Bill Hader as a successful and deadly hitman in the Midwest who travels to LA for a hit and decides that he wants to change careers after realizing, you know what, this acting thing, pretty cool. Maybe I'll try it for
A
myself.
lot less bloodshed.
Of course, that's not a career transition that's going to go very smoothly, so there's going to be plenty of violence and bloodshed along the way. Barry premieres on HBO March 25th, so
Looks fun. Next in trailers is Yardie, the directorial debut of Idris Elba.
what can't that man do?
It's a crime thriller about a young Jamaican man from the 1970s who works for a local crime boss. That boss sends him over to London, where he starts thinking maybe he should just leave this life of crime
And
behind
become
him.
an actor.
Maybe. So yeah, he's like, I don't need this crime thing. Although, that changes when he encounters the guy who murdered his brother 10 years earlier, at which point he decides, I'm just gonna go all Jamaican John Wick on everyone. The reactions to festival screenings of Yardie have been very mixed, but the subject matter is definitely something we haven't seen much of, so could still be worth a go, especially for people who really like crime movies
Yeah.
and really like Idris Elba.
Next in trailers, and something that I think looks a little John Wickish as well, Jared Leto has always teetered on the edge of either being kind of annoying or ultra talented for both of us. Neither of us enjoy the smooth, sultry sounds of his emo band 30 Seconds to Mars, but we both think he's a pretty damn good actor with roles in films like Dallas Buyers Club, American Psycho, and Requiem for a Dream. That whole thing kind of got tossed out once we saw his version of the Joker in 2016 Suicide Squad, so we're definitely curious as to whether or not he can win us back with his latest entry into cinema, which doesn't premiere in cinemas at all. It comes out on Netflix next month.
The film's called The Outsider, and it's about an American soldier, played by Leto, who is imprisoned in post-war Japan. He then enters the dark world of the Yakuza, adopting their way of life in repayment for his freedom. Once he's free, he sets out to earn their respect and repay his debt while navigating the dangerous criminal underground. So the trailer does a damn good job of getting us excited for it. It looks like it would have definitely been a hard R if it were released in theaters. It also seems as though Leto is playing a sort of Yakuza version of John Wick. So
Yeah, we got the Jamaican version of John Wick, the Yakuza version of John Wick.
I want to see all the versions.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the trailer's any suggestion, it should be pretty action-packed and bloody.
Fortnite has their John Wick character now. It's a force to be reckoned with.
Payday 2, they got their John Wick as well.
Yeah. The first one, looking back, when they make new John Wicks down the line, it's going to be called John Wick, The Force Awakens. So there you go. Finally, we have two fun things to leave you with for this weekend. First off, with the success of Black Panther and his exceptional job as the villain Killmonger in the film, Michael B. Jordan has found thousands of new fans from all walks of life, some of whom are very interested in his personal life and find certain things about him to be pretty comical. Like, as this one Twitter user pointed out, the fact that he lives with his parents and loves anime. And while those statements are technically true, that same Twitter user incorrectly noted Jordan's height as 5'9".
Yeah, don't worry though, because this is the internet. Michael B. Jordan actually responded to the fan and corrected him on a few things. The original tweet read, "Michael B. Jordan is a 5'9" adult man that loves anime and lives with his parents. Y'all told me all those things were unacceptable though." Jordan quoted this tweet and replied, "First of all, I'm 6 feet, and they live with me. Put some respect on my name, lol. And Goku and Naruto are the real ones. Praise hands, lol." Then he presumably ran off into the sunset with his arms behind him.
I'm out. That damn Goku's up there charging his spirit bomb again. We also have another weird trailer from the crazy mind of Aldo Jones, who we've linked to on this show before many times. It's because of his absurd and zany re-edits of popular movie trailers. This time he's taken on the Avengers Infinity War trailer, and it might be his greatest work yet.
It's full of memes.
He gets better every time. He reworked it to make it look like the worst movie in the world. There's just countless memes, edits that make the actors look ridiculous, and references to things like the disaster artist Rick and Morty, the spaghetti meme it makes an appearance, and a hell of a lot of appearances from Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man, which ironically works perfect in so many scenes.
Yeah, he really went above and beyond this time. It's fantastic. His work keeps getting better and better and better. We can't possibly show you everything or even describe how many things are going on in this one trailer, so you should just go check it out for yourself by heading to the link in the description. And also, while you're down there, don't forget to use our link to get that $5 Dollar Shave Club starter pack to help support the show, and we're stoked to have them as a sponsor.
Yeah, while you're sitting around doing all
Clean
that stuff,
that ass.
check out our other links over here. We have a brand new episode of Weekly Weird News where if you're a Trump supporter and you're watching this show, first of all, you probably don't like us, but second of all, you can find someone that you do like because there's a Trump dating website now.
Make dating great again.
Find the love of your life there. Also, we have a brand new tech news day about how the damn crypto miners are stopping the aliens from communicating with us.
Sad.
And they're stopping gamers from playing next-gen
They
games.
targeted gamers.
We'll see you guys next time.